Hello everyone. This video is about bringing the light into darkness. And as we move through our human journey in the kingdom, sometimes we can start focusing on the things we don't like in this relative world. Things that are going on in politics, things that are going on in our personal life, things that might be going on in our body if we're aging or we have got sick. And it can really start to feel heavy. And it can start to feel like a constriction is happening, and we can feel trapped in our body or trapped in our job or trapped in a relationship. And this video's about bringing lightness into any situation. Some situations we can change, and some situations we can't change. And what do we do when we haven't got the ability to get a new job right away, where we haven't got the ability to feel physically better when we're in pain, or we're still heartbroken over XYZ that's happened? What do we do when the body is suffering, when there's emotional suffering, when there is psychological suffering, and we would like to connect to divinity in something lighter? And the key is to let go of pushing and trying to have an argument with reality and wishing it was different and being angry that it's not, or being frustrated that we haven't figured it out in time. We just have to accept this is what's going on right now. It's going to eventually change in its own time. And acceptance of what we can change and what we can't change, and of what's occurring now. Acceptance without forcing to fix it right away and getting very neurotic about it, but accepting this is where I am right now. And relaxing into that acceptance brings a light into our life and the life of other people, because we stop pushing, we stop having an argument with reality, and we stop beating ourselves up, and we let go. And in that letting go, the light can come in, and maybe the pain reduces a little bit, maybe it goes away completely, we don't know. Acceptance can bring out miraculous results. I tried this when I used to get a lot of pain in my stomach at a specific time of month. Ladies might be able to relate to this. And I used to have such an argument with that reality, and I'd rush for the painkillers, and I'd be dreading that time. And then I moved into acceptance, and something miraculous happened. The pain actually stopped. It went away. And so there's something about pushing against which increases the pain and brings in the darkness. When we push against something, it increases the pain and it reduces the light. So acceptance is one way of bringing in the light, of returning back to our true nature, our true divine transcendental nature. That brings in light, and it brings in such powerful light that problems that we previously were just irritated or really hurting or frustrated by get reframed. And they can get reframed in a million different ways. It's almost like rewriting the past. Because when you bring in that connection to something bigger than your individuality, it frames your situation in a different way. So you might see the lessons in what's going on. You might even be grateful for what's going on because of the wisdom, the insight, and the understanding you're getting about life and everybody that you're interacting with. because you've expanded out. And an analogy might be, imagine there's a puddle and you drop some ink into the puddle. The puddle just goes black because the puddle is a certain size. It's a limited size. It's a small body of water. It's a small puddle. And so if you drop a little bit of black ink, some negativity, some darkness into that puddle, it just turns completely black because it's boundaried and there's only so much water and it's just dark. But what if you drop some ink into a larger body of water? It may not go completely black. It might be sort of murky. And what if you drop ink into an even larger body of water, like a lake? It just absorbs the darkness. And what if you drop some ink into an ocean? It just completely disappears. It's the ocean can just absorb buckets and buckets and gallons of ink. It doesn't make a difference. And so when we connect to our transcendental selves, our selves that are beyond our body and our mind and our history and our past, our eternal divine self, when we connect to that, that's like connecting to the ocean. We become oceanic, we become massive. And then the ink is representative of our problems or our headaches or our pains and irritations and dislikes. The darkness, when we drop darkness into something like an ocean, it doesn't even matter, does it? It becomes less of an issue because we're bigger than that. And so sometimes I've noticed this when I guide meditations. If I'm guiding a group, people will always have problems they want to talk about at the beginning of the meditation. And I say, okay, let's just pause that. We'll talk about the problems after the meditation. So we meditate. People transcend. They move beyond their body and mind. They connect to everyone on a deeper level in the group, beyond the color of their skin, what they do for a living, where they live, what happened to them in the past, whether they have different things they like or dislike, different political opinions, different ways of bringing up children, different places they like to go. All these differences dissolve in the group when they transcend. They connect to each other on an eternal, deeper level. They rest in that stillness. And when they come out of the meditation, they're all connected to their big selves. And then I ask their big selves, not their small selves, their big selves, okay, what did you want to talk about today? Didn't you say you had this problem that you wanted to discuss? Not one hand went up. They couldn't even remember. They couldn't even remember the problems they had because the problems were just absorbed. They were absorbed so much they couldn't even remember them. And then they would have to contract back into their smaller self to even remember the problem. And this is an example of how oceanic we are when we transcend the body. When we transcend the body through effortless meditation, we remember how powerful we are. We remember what we are capable of being in this lifetime. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to fight against. We don't need to struggle as much as we do. And it relieves suffering so effortlessly, so gracefully when we sit down in silence, and even better in a group. When we meditate in group, something very special happens. We return back to calm, and we come out and we are the light in the world. We can move around and we emanate something into the atmosphere which is picked up non-verbally by those we interact with, and it reminds people, you're greater than your suffering, you're greater than your problems, everything's okay. There is a space that exists that's beyond suffering, and that's the eternal place that you return back to when you drop the body, but also a place that you can exist in when you have a body. You don't have to wait until you drop the body and die. You can die right now if you effortlessly meditate. It's not a way that I'm going to get people to meditate by saying, hey, come and transcend and you'll die before you die. No. But there is some truth in that. Excuse me. In learning to die before you're dead. If you are meditating properly, you die while you're in your body. You die. All of the thoughts and problems, they can die. All of the pain, the storyline, it can die. It can all just be dissolved so that there's nothing that exists in that moment other than the transcendental space. And if you meditate and you go deep enough, you're not in the celestial realm. You're not in any experiential realm. You are just almost like in a nuclear core of the universe. And I know this might sound kind of woo-woo to some people, but this is something that is very easy to achieve. And it's easy to achieve through effortless meditation. However, most people don't practice effortless meditation, and they practice pushing and focusing and fighting against their thoughts and thinking they can't meditate, thinking other people can meditate, and all this nonsense goes on, and that brings the darkness in. The best way to bring in the light is through effortless meditation, through transcendental meditation, through meditation that moves you beyond experience, beyond the mind. And I don't care whether you're seeing lights or whether Jesus comes down on a unicorn with a glitter storm. It doesn't matter. You're going to move beyond any visions you have or any experiences you have into something that is beyond all of it. And we all like to have experiences, and I discuss experiences on this channel, and I'm grateful for all of the celestial experiences I have, and it's fun and it's wonderful, but that's not really what it's about. We move beyond that. We go into the nuclear core of the universe. We transcend. We go back to this thing which cannot be put into words. That's where it's at. With the yogis, we don't care for bliss too much. We don't care for experiences too much. We just want that transcendental thing. And it can't be put into words. But it does bring in the light. And so, a way of bringing light into our life is through connecting to that transcendental thing. And sometimes when we meditate or our awareness rises, we might start to have some stress exiting. And that stress might exit in the form of nightmares. It might exit in the form of this energy that feels demonic. We might feel possessed even. I mean, I've felt possessed before. I've experienced such horrible energy fields in my system. It's felt like these dark clouds, and sometimes it's created these visuals of dark entities. And I've thought, okay, how to cope with this strong energy field. And then I've done Guru Puja in my mind, or I've connected to a technology that immerses me and brings me back into that transcendental space, and then that darkness just disappears because it cannot exist at the same time. It's very difficult. They're just vibrationally not the same. So whenever you feel there's some demons or demonic energy or darkness inside yourself, or you're perceiving it as outside yourself, that's also an illusion. But whatever you're perceiving is going on that you're scared of, or big emotions that are dark, or thoughts that are dark, if we have a technology, if we have prayer, if we have a guru, if we have a technique, if we're able to transcend, that will move that darkness away. It's like if you bring a light, the darkness disappears. If the sun rises, the night disappears. Light and dark, light often always removes the darkness. Don't give up. It always removes the darkness. Sometimes I've come across quite heavy, dark energy fields, and I've done my technologies, and it's just moved through. Not always immediately if it's a very strong energy field, but it has always gone away. One time there was a very strong energy field. It nearly stopped my breath. And then I did my Guru Puja. It dropped me like a hot stone because it couldn't coexist with the Guru Puja. And I took a huge breath. And I don't know what that was. I don't need to know what that was. But I can remove it through connecting to the divine transcendental space. So that is the key to bring in the light. So I pray that we all find an effortless meditation practice, or a way of connecting to our true divine selves to relieve an ocean of suffering.